So I was just perusing on my Kindle this morning, as one tends to do, and I came across, I don't know if you can see it, top recommendations or top reads in Kindle Unlimited. So you know what? I was inspired. We're going to do a video today where we're reading the top 10 books that are currently available in Kindle Unlimited. When I am starting this video, it is May 11th. I anticipate that this will be up probably sometime within the next month. Let's hope. Just know when you go to look at like the top 10, 100% these are going to be different. But when I'm starting this video today, these are the top 10. And I've read 2 of them. That's fine. That doesn't matter. But how we're basically going to be doing this video is I'm going to start at number 10, go all the way up to number 1, and see if I think that these are actually worth being the top 10. And you know, would I recommend that you actually check these out? So let's quickly take a gander at what these books are, because to be very honest, aside from the ones I've read, I don't really know much about these. Number 10, we have Dire Bound, which is a dark romantasy. The series is called The Wolves of Rune. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe shifter romance, which I love. Yeah, Marin has never dreamed of being one of the bonded Vikings, elite warriors who form mental links with massive, vicious direwolves. She's made peace with her life scraping by in poverty in the shadows of the castle. But then her younger sister is kidnapped, stolen across the border by the immortal monsters her country has spent centuries fighting, and her world falls apart. So she enlists in the army and discovers that there are bonding trials this year where soldiers are forced to risk their lives in an attempt to connect with the direwolf. Okay, down. Some kind of magical creature and a trial-based romance. Down. Number 9, On Wings of Blood. This looks like a dragon book. Ooh, and it is a dark academia fantasy romance. Yes. Magical school. Yes. So our main character is a half-fae in a school of high-blood vampires. Oh. Okay, I love a vampire romance. So our main character, she is the last of the dragon riders, but there's no dragons left, and she's been captured by vampires and brought into their school. Okay, those are things that I love the sound of. Number 8, The Housemaid. I've read that. I'll talk about it when we get to number 8 in this. Number 7 is His Juliet. It is an age gap, hurt, comfort, mafia romance. That's a convoluted title, a convoluted description. What is this about? Okay, it's a dual POV mafia romance with an age gap. It's a standalone. Okay, so it's technically book 2 in a series, but it's standalone, so that works well. Number 6, I'm really excited for this. It's The Things We Water by Mariana Zapata, and I think that this is her first, I might be very wrong, but I think this is fantasy romance. Yeah, I've read one of her books that I've absolutely loved, and I'm really excited to get into more of her stuff. I'm really excited that she came out with a fantasy romance. I think this one is a shifter romance too, so I'm intensely excited for like literally every bit of that. Sounds amazing. Number 5, Sawyer. This is looks like a little bit of a cowboy small town romance. Dirty Dancing leads to a chance at forever in the sizzling single parent found family small town romance. All right. It's a standalone book in an intricate series, so I don't need to read the other ones. That's wonderful. And yeah, it's book 3 in the Lucky River Ranch series. So if I like this one, I'll definitely read the others. Number 4, Quicksilver. I have read that. Check. Number 3, Kiss of the Basilisk. I am so excited to get to this. This looks unhinged as hell, and I cannot wait. It is first of all, the series is called Split or Swallow. I've always been reading this as Spit or Swallow. But this features dangerous basilisks. God, I can't say that. Competitive seduction and a love triangle that could destroy kingdoms. Apparently this is incredibly spicy and unhinged as hell. Perfect. Book number 2, Taming the Heart. Steamy age gap forbidden love cowboy romance. For some reason I thought, okay, I see now based on this cover, it is definitely cowboyish. For some reason I really thought that this was fantasy romance though. So we have a free spirit finds herself working for a former bull rider who has secrets behind those ocean deep eyes. It's another interconnected standalone series, book 3 in it, but can be read separately. And the number one biggest, most popular book right now. This is actually one I was like 100% excited to read and was very shortly going to read anyways. And that's Kings of Envy by Anna Huang. I've read all of her books. They're just like, these ones in particular, they're kind of like, this series is like billionaire shitty guy romances. They're kind of dark romance, kind of shitty people, and just like all powerful men just kind of doing whatever they want. So yeah, very excited to get this one. It says steamy billionaire romance featuring a morally gray hero. Down. So those are the 10, but really 8 books that we're going to be reading in this video. Like I said, I'm going to be starting at the book in the 10th place and making my way up. So we're going to read it in order of that, and I'm super excited. I'm going to go dive into the first one now. Okay, I started the first book that we're reading in this one, which is Dire Bound, and I'm 30% in, having a fantastic time, like truly fantastic. And I don't think there's too much to say aside from like what we kind of discussed in the synopsis of it. We're following a young woman. She is actually she is a I'd say pit fighter. She fights for money, and her sister is abducted by these this group known as nabbers, who I guess they just kind of go around and are abducting young children. And I don't know if we have an explanation yet for what they do with them, but presumably they're bringing them to the war lines, something. But these children are being abducted, and our main character's sister does. So her idea to try and get her sister is she wants to enlist in this war and get sent to the front lines because she thinks that the children are going there. But when she enlists, it is a very unfortunate time, because every so many years there are these trials where every single person who enlists in the army is sent to potentially bond with a direwolf. And this is I think this is so just something a little bit different. These are give people magic. I think they give people magic, but this is a fun alternative to a dragon rider. But yeah, these wolves are insanely big. They are the elite people within the war army. And within these wolves, there's also they form separate packs and all these things. They're so fun. I love this idea. The dire wolves too are apparently the babies are so tall that they go a human barely comes up to their shoulder. Love it. So she unfortunately joined at a very terrible time and is immediately sent to this testing thing to see if she's going to bond with a dire wolf. The trials are insane because there's this huge mountain that you have to climb, and it's very treacherous. It's covered in ice. People die constantly. People fight on the way up because they want to weed out the weak / they're if I can kill, I might as well. And on the way up, if you refuse to try and race your way up this mountain, you're killed, because they're well, we don't need you in our army. You are a coward. So she quickly thankfully gets in with a group who their parents were riders, so they're fairly experienced, and she helps out one of them, and they bring her along let's climb this together. We're safer as a team. And our main character makes it to the top of this thing, but she is adamant. She's I'm going to make it up this mountain, but I'm going to refuse to bond anything until this one direwolf, who's apparently hundreds of years old, has never bonded anyone, or not in ages, decides that she is forcing her to bond her, and now creates the drama because she does not want to be bonded to this wolf. This wolf is seemingly very pissy, which I love. And now, even though she's bonded to her wolf, that doesn't stop the problems. Now they have to go through trials to see if they are actually worthy of this bond, and to see get them trained to be able to go to the army. Loving it. This is fantastic. I am having so much fun so far. All right. So I have officially finished Direbound, and I'm very proud to say that I really enjoyed this one. I think this was a fantastic, kind of Four-Wing-esque book, but something different than dragons. Also, sorry if you can hear my cat. I think he is asking for lunch, dinner. I don't know. This is not his normal feeding time, but he just likes to scream. So I think this is really interesting because it gets a lot into this idea of bonding to magical creatures, which are these dire wolves, and it's just kind of a different take on this magical rider type of thing, because we see dragon riders constantly. That is something that has been very popular for many years in fantasy, and just very interesting to see this new take on it and see something a little different. Something that I can very much get on board with is seeing something new. So I truly had a fantastic time with this. I think that this was a really fun book too, in the sense that the action was constantly going. There was not a dull moment in this. Things were happening on every twist and turn. Every page was a new twist. Something wild happening. Something just absolutely insane going forward to the plot, and something crazy happening to our main character. It was fun. I think it was wild. Maybe my only complaint is that there was maybe a little bit too much jam-packed into these pages, because we didn't really have that many moments of just sitting with our character and kind of reflecting on what's happening, or there are certain things that happen towards, I'd say 70%ish, and we didn't really get that much, as much, I guess, towards that as I really would have liked. Maybe it'll be explored. I mean, I definitely could see it being explored in other books, but yeah, I think just potentially too much was packed into this book, but at the same time, it kept it intensely entertaining, and you very much just wanted to go page by page and just keep jumping through it, because so many interesting things were happening. And I don't think that's necessarily a problem. So yeah, just really solid romantasy book. I think it's a debut by this author too. Very exciting. And yeah, I like the direction that this book is going in this series potentially. I think this was fantastic. I'm giving it 4 stars. Was not quite a 5. I think just honestly, like I was saying, too much packed in, not enough time to reflect on certain things that were happening. Otherwise, so good. gotten about 60, I think I'm 60-ish% into. What is the name of this one? I feel like the name is confusing me. On Wings of Blood. So this one, we are kind of in that same vein of Dragon Rider, but in this world, there are no dragons. Dragon Riders were thought to have died out. There are no dragons left. Dragon Riders were thought to have died out at this point, and we are following basically a world that is dominated by vampires. So we're following a main character named Medra, Pendragon, who something happened. It's still very, very mysterious what this is, but something happened where she basically almost died and then somehow was transported into this different country world. No, same world, but a different country. And this land part that she's transported into is controlled entirely by vampires. But she basically had known nothing about that. And in her mind, vampires were mythical creatures, didn't exist, and very, very shocked and surprised to come to realize that they do exist in this world and they are kind of revered like gods. And this is because they are so intensely powerful and they basically demand like pure obedience and worship from all of the non-vampires within this realm. Basically anybody who is not immortal. And yeah, she is pretty quickly captured by vampire rulers, and something about her, I think it's her red hair, and then her blood is tested and it's identified that she is in fact one of these like ancient / thought to have died out dragon riders. So it's like she has a very specific type of magic, and because of this they're like, we're going to tie her to this royal family by basically like betrothing her to the son of this family and then throwing her into this magical school to learn all about vampire magic and fighting and all. There's like quite a bit going on and it's kind of random, it's kind of weird. I'm not disliking it by any means though. Like I do have to say I'm definitely enjoying a lot of what's happening, but it feels, I don't know, the world, there are so many questions. I have so many questions about what is happening and what this means, what basically the setup of this entire world is and how she got there. That is so intensely confusing. The magic system, so confusing. There's so many things that are unanswered, and I am deeply hoping that we learn more about it. And then it's supposed to be a fantasy romance, so between her and the man that she is now betrothed to. So far they just hate each other. They've had like 2 interactions on page, which one of them was basically her beating the shit out of him. So you know, there's very, very little going on in that way, and I don't know how much that's going to change by the end. So like so far, no romance. This just basically like magical school, which I'm not upset about. I don't mind that at all. I'm just kind of curious to see where it goes. Okay, so I did end up finishing On Wings of Blood last night, and like I really have to say it's unfortunately like intensely mediocre. I really thought I'd be going into this one and like finding an all-time new favorite romantasy. Just so many things about it, like dragon riders, vampires, this magical school, like, you know, everything kind of aligns to make this sound like it's going to be the perfect book. And unfortunately, like it did not deliver on like anything that it was supposed to. I mean, I guess technically it did hit all those points. It just nothing special, nothing that interesting ended up happening, and like nothing that I'm coming out of it and being like, oh, that was an exciting read. Like, to be very honest, it was very mediocre. The characters I really didn't feel anything for. I didn't feel anything for the relationships. The magic itself was incredibly non-built out. There could have been so much more that was actually explored, and it didn't really captivate my interest in any way. Like, there were some mysteries about our main character that truly were not resolved, were not addressed in any way, which is very unfortunate because I think that would have been fantastic to learn some more about. But it just like nothing ended up being really explored, really explained, and unfortunately I felt like it was so lacking because of that. I wanted more magic, more world building, more explanation, more character building, more relationships, and yeah, not there. Giving it a 3-star. Again, like decent. Nothing that was overtly wrong with it. Just one of those examples where I do think it could have been built out so much more and would have really made the book better. And also considering that this was like a 500 and something page book, like there was not enough like really taught to us, told about the world and the characters. Like it felt like it was 500 pages for nothing, if that makes sense. So I still kind of like came out of it with just as many questions as we started off with, and yeah, it felt like nothing was resolved. So decent. I don't think I would continue on in the series, unfortunately, unless I hear that it goes wildly better. But yeah, that one's done. And since it's next on the list, let's like very quickly talk about The Housemaid, which I'm very just generally gonna say it's been 2 years since I read it, so I don't necessarily remember anything. everything. I mean, I remember some things. I don't remember everything. I do feel like it was a very fast-paced thriller. It was very entertaining, and the spoiler did get me, or not the spoiler, the twist did get me. But at the same time, I will say that Frida McFadden is not a particularly good writer, and a lot of her books feel very, very simplistic. The writing style is very straightforward. It's not anything, which could be what a lot of people like about it, but I just don't find her to be a particularly good writer. I honestly, any other books that I've read from her aside from this one, I think I've given 2 stars. This one was a 3, maybe, because maybe it was a 4, because it was one that like I was interested in. I was pretty like invested in a lot of what was going on, and did really enjoy a lot of what happened. It just, I can't really say it's that great, because again, like the writing, nothing very fantastic. Totally understand why it's on the top 10 list. Like, her books are always incredibly popular. A lot of people really love them. Like, people eat them up, which I guess I kind of understand. But again, like I don't like her as a writer, so I don't really get that excited about her stuff. And also the movie for this one is either coming out soon or currently in production. So, you know, like that definitely, I'm sure it's adding an extra layer of excitement to it, where like people want to now read this as they're seeing that the movie's coming out, and like, of course, it's going to make it much more popular. So not surprised it's on the list. Not one I would like overly recommend either, though.
Obviously, we want to chapters.
I did bad and I read a book without like coming in for any updates at all, and honestly it was just terrible. It was terrible, and that is why I really felt nothing. Well, I felt like I had nothing to update on, and I'm just so uninvested in this book. But I finished His Juliet, and I'm just like genuinely shocked. This has a 4.13 average rating right now, and like, oh, I'm giving this 2 stars. It was not great. It's basically like, it was so cheesy, and I really thought the writing was terrible. But there's Romeo and Juliet. So he is somebody who's involved in the mafia guy. Like, listen to this. Our worlds weren't meant to collide. My life is darkness and she is light, but I can't stay away any longer. When her life is in danger, the darkness within me bursts to the forefront. We might be star-crossed lovers, but no one will keep me from my Juliet. So cheesy, but it is her age gap romance, standalone, and it just was so not. I really could not get into the writing itself. It just felt like overly, like the prose felt like way too like cheesy at times, and I really did not enjoy the like lovey-wee stuff that the characters were saying to each other, which is so ridiculous because sometimes I get so into that. But this one, it just felt so over the top. It was so insta love, and I do not like that. And yeah, another thing too, like our male main character, he's supposed to be like in his late 30s, and I swear he felt like he was 18, and I could not like have any part of me getting into this. I hated their relationship. I really felt nothing for any of the characters, and I was so uninvested in the story as a whole. I don't feel like there's anything particularly interesting happening, so you know, like, it was not for me. Giving that 2 stars. I do not think that this was worth it. I don't understand the appeal to this one. So yeah, that's done. But I have started the next one after this, so that is The Things We Water by Mariana Zapata, and really excited that I don't know if this is her first fantasy romance, but it's one of them. I think she has one that's kind of like a superhero romance, which I really want to read. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's her first fantasy romance, and it's feeling pretty classically like one of her books. Like, it is very slow burn right now, and the world building is weird though, I have to say. We're following a main character. She is kind of magical. There's magical creatures in this world, but they are hidden, and like, so they live primarily in these like small communities around the world, like kind of in the woods, places that, you know, not still interacting with the world at whole, but having spaces that are like safe communities for magical creatures to live. She is, our main character, magical but unidentified magical. So she was adopted by shifter parents, and it's recognized that she has some type of magic, but we really cannot tell what it is yet. She does not know. It seems like it might be some ancient type of magic, some very dangerous type of magic, but we really don't know much about her. And she has a little baby who this magical creature came to her trailer that she lives in one night in the middle of the night, and basically like called her telepathically to her. And she came out, and there was like this little like puppy baby outside her house, and immediately our main character recognized that this was like a very powerful wonderful magical being and kind of adopted him as her own kid. And it's confusing because it's very like, technically Duncan, this is his name, he has been in dog form this entire time, and we don't know if he's able to shift to human, if he is anything. I mean, we do know he's married, sure, but we don't know what kind he is, and he's still very much being treated as a like person baby, if that makes sense, even though he's kind of still right now just 100% like in dog form, but he can also telepathically communicate. And our main character very much considers him like her child, which, I mean, I understand that. I fully think of my animals as my children too, but I'm not sure if we're really supposed to think of him as like humanoid, and that kind of energy is a little weird. I'm not really sure like what he's actually supposed to be in that sense, but she has adopted him, and they've been on the run for a little bit because people can identify that he has some kind of weird magic and are trying to kidnap him. Because of this, she is decides to go to this shifter community, not really shifter, but one of those magical communities that she knows about through her friend, and is now there right now trying to integrate herself into the community. I'm like 30% in, by the way, and that is pretty much where we are. She's in this community trying to find answers about herself and Duncan, and to be part of this community there's a 3-month trial period, and then she has to commit to being married within the year to be part of the community. I don't know why. And you can tell it's going to be a slow burn romance between her and Henry, who is her friend's cousin and like one of the leaders in this community. Kind of convoluted so far, very slow. Not a whole lot has happened, to be very honest, but I'm very intrigued. It is just very, very slow, and I'm hoping the action picks up. I'm hoping things get a little more interesting, because while I am enjoying it, at the same time it is definitely dragging. So that's kind of where I am right now. Okay, I have finished The Things We Water, and honestly, like, this was a weird one. This was very, very weird, and good weird, definitely good weird, but also like just strange. And the world building was weird. It was nothing wrong about it. It was, I feel like I'm coming out of this with so many unanswered questions, and I do think this is maybe a standalone. I really at this point hope that we have like other things that take place in this world, but I think it's a standalone. But at the same time, like, I'm really confused about this world building, and it did very much feel like we came out of this one with just like so many unanswered questions, so many things that, like, you know, could potentially be explored more. And I'm still unsure how I felt. So there's things that are very typical of Mariana Zapata, and that like the writing itself truly was beautiful. It was fantastic. The relationship was like the ultimate slow burn. Like, I think they kissed for the first time at like 80% into it, and like so many things like that I do enjoy. I think they are fantastic. But again, like, this world, I don't know if I wanted more world building, which is kind of crazy to say when it's a 700-page book, and it felt like so much of the first half of the book was like really purely world building. Like, I don't know if I feel like there's more that I needed, if there are certain things that I wanted more fleshed out. Like, I think the characters were explored pretty well, but it's still at the same time, like, I feel like there were things that were missing, and I don't know what. Like, I liked our characters. I like a lot of the plot points. Maybe that's the point, is that a lot of the plot felt like it was kind of meaningless in certain ways, where it felt like it was kind of just meandering, and we were getting to a point, but it was like, you know, kind of, we were taking our time getting there, and it wasn't really like one of those like intense action points. It was more of like a very, very slow build of realization of information, and then characters slowly coming together, and just, it was very, again, very slow, but not a problem, but it felt weird in some ways. Like, it was just very, very meandering in a lot of ways, and just really like exploring it, which is not always like my favorite thing. I'm very much more of a plot-based character reader, so a lot of the time, like, I really do want like crazy things happening within the plot, me really, really intensely interested. I don't really want to like just sit with a character and their day-to-day life at times, but like, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed this book. I just think that there were a lot of things that were missing, and a lot of things that could have been a lot better. So like, I'm giving it a 4-star, because I did really, really enjoy my time with it, but I am coming out of it just kind of like, I don't know what I actually think, and I do think that a lot of things have been improved upon. And now I do really, really want her to write more books within this world, because it was interesting, and after having spent so much time with it, I do, you know, I want to revisit this, and I want to see what else she can come out with, and what other characters we could explore, because pretty much every type of magical creature you could imagine was within this world, and I think there's so many ways that we could, you know, keep going within this and learn more. So yeah, all of that long thought just to say I did enjoy it, but at the same time, I don't think it was the best fantasy romance ever. I do think it's worth the read though. Like, I think it was a pretty interesting time. So yeah, there's that. I have started our next book, Sawyer, and I'm gonna say, so this is book 3 in a cowboy romance series, and you know, have I read the other 2? Yes. Did I kind of take a little veer detour and decide to read the other 2? Yeah. So there we go. I honestly, I had such a fantastic time. I'm really enjoying this series. These are wonderfully done. They're just like following these brothers who all work on this ranch, and all of them are like, I don't know, super involved in ranch life, true cowboys through and through. And I'm really enjoying this one. And again, like the first 2 books have been 4 stars. They were wonderful. And I have a really good feeling about this one because we are following a single dad and also a single mom. So it's 2 single parents and their romance. And it is cute. It is really cute. Like Sawyer is this character. We've seen him through all of the other books, and his daughter is adorable and such a sweetheart. And their relationship is like the cutest thing in the world. Like we've seen them so many times of just being absolutely all together. And now we get to see him just 100% being like the best dad in the world. Like he is truly like obsessed with his daughter, and like she can do no wrong in his book. And he is just like so invested in her. And so daughter's 3 years old, I think. And he has a one-night stand at one point, and like he's out of town for a bachelor party for one of his brothers, has a one-night stand with this woman. And then she ends up moving to the same small town that he lives in. And they run into each other, and you know, very quickly are like, you know what? We're into each other. Let's just go for it. And they're slightly trying to fight their feelings, but at the same time, you know, they're like, you know what? I'm into you. Let's just go for this. Why not? And it's so adorable. Their kids are becoming best friends, and just so many things are just so cute. So I'm having such a good time with this one. I think this is adorable. And this series as a whole, fantastic. Like everything you could ever want in a cowboy romance, to be very real. Okay, many updates to talk about. Quickly, let's just say I'm done Sawyer. And this will be a 4-star for me. I think when I look back at the other 2 books that I read in this series so far, I do think this is my least favorite one, which is kind of wild to say because this did have so many things that really worked for me. I really love like single parent romances. I love like just a lot of the emotional connection. Really enjoyed it. But I do think my main issue is that the book started with them having a one-night stand. And because of that, there wasn't as much tension that I really liked. There wasn't this like intense yearning because it was kind of like, you know, they already slept together. They knew basically, you know, the sexual chemistry was there and all of that. And I like when there is like an intense yearn, an intense slow burn. I don't want the book to start off immediately on sex. And like there, they hooked up and then there was like a very long period before they reunited and before they did anything. But also when they reunited, it was a very quick like, you know what, we like each other, let's go for it. And I want some like a bit more attention, something that like they're really fighting their feelings, and it didn't feel like there were as much in this one, which it's just something that isn't like, I don't know, it's not as interesting for me. I said, I just really want more tension. I want more build up. I just want something. So that part's a little disappointing. Otherwise, really good. I love cowboys. I come to accept this. I'm really obsessed with a cowboy, and yeah, I'm 100% on this bandwagon now. There's some that like, I think at some point I need to do a video talking about cowboy romances because there's some that aren't that great. Like Wild, what was Done and Dusted, those are just kind of blah. And I know those are super popular, but like this series, this is a good one. This is a very good one that I definitely think is or should be more recommended. And I'm going to be reading another cowboy romance later in this video, which I'll just spoiler say I'm reading book 1 in that series. And for this video, we'll be reading book 3. I'm loving 1. It is spicy as hell, and I'm loving the cowboy vibes again. So, you know, maybe we're just really yeehaw-ing it this summer. And actually, I wouldn't be that upset about it. I wouldn't be upset if this was just a cowboy summer. I think maybe that's just a vibe I need to accept. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So that one done, 4 stars. Again, this list is doing wonderful things for us. And now we're just gonna super quickly talk about Quicksilver, because to be honest, I read it like 6 months ago and I don't really want to get too into it, / also, I don't know, like I don't really want to ramble my way through trying to talk about the description about it. But basically, there's a human in this world. She uncovers the secret magic that enables her to transport to the Fae realm. In the Fae there, basically, they have been without this magic that enables them to travel within realms. They train her up and she falls to the prince. That is the most basic description we can ever get into. And you know, sometimes romantasy books are just very like, we can do a quick reline description of all the major plot points, all the major tropes, and that's kind of it. Yeah, I don't even know if I want to say more about it other than like I loved it. Like I genuinely love this one, and I did give it 5-star. Looking back on it now, I think it potentially was one of those ones that like in the moment it was a 5-star, but when sitting with reflection on it, potentially more of a 4. But I really enjoyed this book. It actually gave me like a Court of Thorns and Roses vibe, and I really don't know how, what part of it is. And looking back, also trying to pinpoint it, there's like no similarities really aside from a human in a Fae realm, but something about it in my head just like kind of clicked that they were, you know, similar together. But anyways, I love that one. Biggest issue, the male main character's name was Kingfisher, which I fucking hate. I think that is a terrible terrible name for a main character. But yeah, really quickly saying I gave them 5 stars. And now I have started, I guess, third last, book 7, book 8 slash third highest on this list, which I am so excited for this one. I'm 10% in, and this is one of the most unhinged things I've already ever read, and I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. So I've started Kiss of the Basilisk, and yeah, this is something. This is unhinged, and I really do not know, do not understand where this came from, but I've heard someone describe it recently as like snake smut, and I don't want to say that's true, but it kind of is. And in this one, it's so fucking wild. There is this prince, and all the girls who were born on the same year as him are entered basically into this competition to see who will be his potential wife, and they're entered into this competition to see who can please him, basically who can sleep with him and captivate his attention the most. But in order to get into this, the girls are entered into a special training session with these basilisks, who are basically, monsters, but they're able to take the form of men. They have some kind of special magic. I don't know. The lore is weird, but they're apparently like gods of sex, and they train these young women to be able to please the king or prince to the point that, ideally he's going to pick one of them to be his wife. And we're following a main character who is just starting to go through this training, and we are just following her right now as she is exploring her sexuality and exactly what sex is with a king of the basilisk, because that's who she's paired. I really hate the fact that I find this very sexy. I really hate that fact that I'm really enjoying this month. I wish I was not, but yeah, here we are. It is definitely very spicy, and I'm enjoying it way more than I ever wish I could admit to. But it's something else. It is really something else, and I don't know what else to say about it, but that I think it's going to be unhinged as hell, and I'm really excited for it though. So yeah, I'm like 10% into it right now, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to keep going. I'm 50% into Kiss of the Basilisk, and I really don't know what to say where to go with this, but I have to say I'm enjoying it so much. I will say the plot for the last little bit was kind of dragging, and now a few things are being introduced that are making this wild, but it was dragging in the sense that we're really just following up to this point our main character being trained in sex by her basilisk, and really just learning the art of pleasure and all of this. And it at a certain point, while I will say this is hot, this is weirdly so hot, it was getting a little tedious of just constant sex scene after sex scene. But now I feel like the plot is actually being out, and there's more things happening aside from just this, which while I do really like a smutty book at times, I think that I do also kind of need a little bit more, it's not something that I 100% get super excited about. I need something else to happen in my book. I need to have a little bit more drama, a little bit more just something interesting aside from constant sex scenes. And yeah, that's starting to pick up. It seems like things are going to start getting even more wild, and I cannot wait. One thing I'll say, so I really enjoy our main character, her interactions with the basilisk. Those are super fun. But at the same time, so she's being trained by basilisk and then competing to get this prince's attention to be his future wife. And I cannot get over the way that she is talking to him. It is so weird. She's being very standoffish, which fair, she isn't that interested in him. But she also I don't know, is just being a dick to him, I find. And I think she's partially hoping that this will be the thing that gets his attention, is if she's really not acting like the other girls who are just throwing themselves at him. But I can't believe it feels like she's being very wildly not how I'd expect somebody to be interacting with a prince, especially she's a farmer, and it's just really not how you expect those types of interactions to go. But yeah, still enjoying it. It is keeping my interest. Definitely parts that are liking, just because it does get to be smut after smut after smut, which sometimes I need a little more plot, and I'm happy that it seems like it's starting to amp up a bit more. So I'm having a great time. Kind of ashamed to admit that I'm enjoying it this much, but yeah, here we are. Okay, I finished Kiss of the Basilisk, and let's just say that shit was bananas. That was such an unhinged, weird book, and I'm genuinely like very, very happy that I read it. I have to say that was an experience, something that deeply needed to be experienced. And why do I feel like I am speechless? Slash, the idea of formulating a thought is a little bit impossible at the moment. Like, this was something that I read, and this was something that I read. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It can only be a 3-star in my head. I really can't think of it as anything higher than that, because even though this was so entertaining, I will not say it was good. It captivated me in so many ways, and this is one of those ones, like, I think this, if I was in a slightly more unhinged mood when I was reading this, I think it could have been a 5-star, and I do not want to admit that, but this was just that right mix of unhinged and ridiculous that I deeply love, and that can be just enough to like thoroughly take everything for me. And yeah, this is something that I read, and 3 stars. Honestly, would highly recommend this to literally anyone who's interested in it. I think this was something. And then I've started Taming the Heart also, which is book 3 in a age gap slash kind of taboo cowboy romance series, and I did read the first 2 already. I like really was not planning on doing this for like reading the other books for this one and Sawyer earlier in this video, but why the fuck not? We hit this point where I was like, no, let's just enjoy everything, and I guess just like really read every series. And this series overall, I will say, is something. Again, first book I really enjoyed. It was an age gap ex-boyfriend's father, and that is something that I keep having the same in my head where I'm like, age gaps do not work. They don't work for me. They work for me when the female main character is older. She was 25 in this one, and that worked. And it's one of those tropes that I do tend to like. The second book, it was a girl and her uncle, but he was not biologically related, but still. So that one, it's a thing I read. I really am not going to get into more than that. It was weird. The sex scenes were deeply uncomfortable. So now we're into this one, which unfortunately has some tropes that I don't like, which are cheating. So we have a male main character. He is, this time of year, he starts getting very allergic to the grass, and he's very itchy right now. You won't go lay down? So we have a male main character. He owns a ranch, and he is married, though it's very much in name only. They are on the verge of getting divorced, but it's been a kind of like a legal battle because he's married to this country singer, and really good for her image to have these, things with her constantly, like with a doting husband who's a rancher. Like, it looks really good for her image, but they haven't been together in 10 years, and he is just really biding his time because it should be like any minute now the divorce is going through. In comes his new social media manager, who is going to be living on the ranch for a few months and like working on a rebrand of them, and getting a social media and all those things, and they immediately starting interested in each other. I'm feeling literally nothing between the 2 main characters. I do have to say that, and I don't really love this idea of him being married, even though it's made it very clear that like he is by no means like in an actual relationship with his wife. I don't enjoy the fact that he's still legally married. So I think I'm enjoying this one the least I have in the series so far, which considering book 2's content, that really says a lot. But yeah, continuing on in that. All right, I did finish Claiming the Heart. So I do think I have to say, unfortunately, this one very much a miss for me compared to the others. And I'm not even going to say a miss. I shouldn't say a miss, but like not quite as / nowhere near as good as the first book in this little trilogy. Well, I guess there's going to be more books, but just out of the ones I've read so far, the first book is definitely the best. It gave me the romance vibes I wanted. It gave me all the cowboy things I wanted. It was age gap, but in a way that I enjoyed it. And this one, like, I don't know, I really felt nothing for the relationship between the 2 main characters. And I also, didn't like the fact that technically he was married and he was cheating on his wife, even though it was like a marriage in name only. Wasn't a fan of that, so couldn't get on board with that. And then I just wasn't super into the relationship. I just didn't feel like there was enough interesting happening, enough that was like grabbing my attention. So that one, only a 3-star. And oh god, I meant to film updates, but I did finish the last book, which is number 1 on the KU top 10 when I was starting this video, and that is King of Envy by Anna Wong. So yeah, sorry, I did 0 updates while reading this one, but I unfortunately have very similar thoughts, which is just I didn't really feel much for this book. We are following a model. She is was in a engagement and slash about to be married to convenience with a friend of hers, because he has this agreement where, well, it doesn't, basically he has to get married for some family reasons, we're not sure what yet, but he offered to give her $5 million to marry him and I think be married for like 5 years. But the best man in this wedding is madly in love, and he is this like very distant, very dangerous businessman. He's like all scarred, he's dangerous, he murders, he does all this stuff, and she slowly starts to find herself really, really drawn to him. And then they kind of have to fight this like into each other, slash she doesn't want to betray her friend who she is agreeing to marry for this thing, and he doesn't want to betray his friend by, you know, falling in love with his fiance, and it ends up just being a lot of drama that way. And I don't know, wasn't really that into the relationship. Sometimes, I don't know, like sometimes Anna Huang really does it for me, and sometimes I just kind of come out feeling nothing. And unfortunately this was the latter case, where like, I don't know, just really don't have that many thoughts, unfortunately. And it's another 3-star, whereas like it was perfectly fine, I just don't have strong feelings. So we actually are at the end of this video now, and sorry these last 2 updates were so quick, but like really don't have much to say. And unfortunately I do have to say, like, yeah, neither of them I really feel like deserve to be in the top 10 that much. And this was definitely like an interesting experience, because I realized, like, did I give any of these books 5 stars? I don't think so. Was I was entertained by a few of them, but the vast majority of these were very mid, and that is unfortunate that I really did not enjoy that many of them, and that a lot of these I just really don't think were anything that's spectacular. So, you know, just because a book is popular does not mean it's going to work for you. Just that classic reminder. So thanks for watching today's video. We're just going to end it off here. Follow me on Instagram or subscribe to this channel here if you're interested in more content, and Instagram will be linked down below. But thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in a video soon.